Daddio is what you get when you have no budget and you spend it all on 2 actors. You get a bland 2-hour car ride with the world's most invasive cab driver. Hello and welcome to my channel. Here I normally review movies, but today what I'm doing is more like a PSA than a review. You see, I saw Daddio this morning and now want to try and save you some time. This movie is not only boring, it takes a mildly interesting premise and plays it out in the worst way imaginable. The story follows a young woman taking a cab from the airport in New York to her apartment in Midtown. On the cab ride, the woman and the driver get to talking and end up revealing intimate details of their lives. The two of them are supposed to have an epic, almost life-altering conversation, and then it ends with them going their separate ways. The problem is that they don't actually reveal all that much about their lives, just bits and pieces of a bigger picture that isn't interesting. Sean Penn's character tells us almost nothing about himself other than a big diatribe about what a serial cheater he is. Dakota Johnson's character reveals a bunch of random traumatic details of her life, and then Sean Penn asks a bunch of creepy invasive questions that would have any normal person running for the hills. Basically everything we learn about the characters is that they're both deeply flawed people who do incredibly selfish, harmful things to other people, and that they have almost zero redeeming qualities. Penn's character constantly betrays other people's trust and pries into their personal lives, and Johnson's character is a homewrecker in denial. Most of the dialogue is couched in metaphors and analogies that aren't well crafted and don't make much sense. There's also a lot of needless sexual messaging going on in the background that doesn't add anything. It even clashes with the rest of the story's somewhat wholesome message. The story takes a long time to play out, too. They get stopped in traffic and then they just keep rehashing the same boring talking points about gender relations over and over again, to the point that both of them just sound bitter. There's also nothing else of note that happens in the film. It's just a conversation. So if you aren't into hearing their stories, there's nothing else here. The cast is literally 2 people and a handful of extras: Dakota Johnson and Sean Penn. Penn plays a loudmouth cabbie that can't stop talking or asking questions, and Johnson plays the silent woman that nods and mildly reacts to him. There are a few tiny sparks of chemistry between them early on, but the more you listen to Penn's character talk, the more the sparks fizzle and die. He ends up coming off as a creepy, pushy uncle that can't stop espousing his bitter, pessimistic worldview about everything. Penn puts a lot into the performance and tries desperately to make himself seem like a genuine motormouth, but Johnson mostly just sits behind him like a stone, giving mild facial reactions to his diatribes. It makes him seem increasingly desperate and weird for not taking the hint. The visual journey is a cab ride with a bunch of repetitive shots. We see close-ups of Dakota Johnson's face, close-ups of Sean Penn, and then a mid-shot of each of them from the other's perspective. We barely ever look outside the car or at anything else. The odd time that they do, it's just playful little moments and nothing meaningful. Even the accident they come across barely gets any attention. I struggled to pay attention to the screen because they did so little with it. It was like looking at a screensaver of Dakota Johnson while Penn's dialogue played. They didn't even try to flavor the film with music. They had a couple of string section instrumentals with a bit of piano on top, and they used them very briefly for montages and to convey an underlying emotion once in a blue moon. The tracks add almost nothing and are forgotten instantly if you even noticed them in the first place. So in summation, this film has nothing going for it. Dakota Johnson is a stone who doesn't show much emotion, Sean Penn is screaming into the void, and the story is about 2 people shooting the breeze in a disturbingly personal way. The weird part is that they almost had a decent idea at the heart of their story. We've all had low moments in our lives where we might have been a bit too honest with a stranger, too forthcoming about something personal, and every so often you get a good piece of advice. 2 people connecting over a cab ride and one helping the other work through a problem might have been interesting, if they had chosen one problem and actually tackled it on some level. Instead, they spent their time dancing around several issues and doing nothing but surface level scratches. They also didn't have anything else to keep your interest. If I had been making this film, I would have taken that cab ride and found a bunch of beautiful images along the way and inserted them into the film. Rather than having 700 shots of Dakota Johnson listening, you could focus on some of the graffiti around town or lights in the distance, even the skyline. The film felt trapped within the cab. I'd also have flavored it with music on the radio. It might have seemed a bit cheesy, but you could have added a lot of emotion and style. Penn's character, for example, could have played music from his youth or listened to an old-school radio station or something. There's lots of silent moments between them where it would have even made sense story-wise for him to swap around, even if he turned it off when they started speaking again. Okay, that's it for me. If you want a rating, I'd give this film a 2 out of 10. Let me know in the comments below what the last film that really disappointed you was. Have a great day, and bye-bye.